What's going on, people? Myke C-Town here. I'm here with another Dead End Hip Hop solo album review. It's been a long time since I've done one of these, and I'm pretty stoked to have this album be my return to doing these solo album reviews. The album I'm going to be talking about is the new album by Moody entitled Nausea on Fake 4 Records. For those of you not familiar with Moody, he used to go by the name Indie. I'm not sure if I'm pronouncing that right, but whatever. I'm a fan of Indie. I always thought his style was really interesting, even though I wasn't into all of his music. I liked the majority of what I heard. When I heard that he changed his name to Moody and incorporated some more people, I was pretty interested. I heard the debut from them, the EP, and I think it hit me at a time where I was just really busy and I had a lot of stuff going on. I thought it was really cool, but it didn't grab and hold my attention for that long, so it ended up being a project that I don't even know if I mentioned to anybody. Cheshy Ramos actually hit me up in DM to let me know that Moody had a new track out, and it was the track Wolves, and he sent me the link. And man, I gave it a listen, and immediately I knew I wanted to review this album. The noisy, spacey production is what I noticed immediately before I even noticed what the MC was doing. Atmospheric is a perfect word for this type of beat to this song. I really like the different styles here. I wasn't sure what to expect from the full album, but just based off that one track, I was super interested in hearing what it was going to sound like, and what I got was just absolutely incredible. I'll first say that I'm going to try to steer away from throwing some cool buzzword term at this type of hip-hop, even though it's the closest term I can think to describe this type of rap. I think the term noise rap is just really starting to wear thin with me. You know, I've heard everything from punk rap to acid rap to industrial hip hop to even Grayskull's term goth hop thrown at this type of hip hop. And in my opinion, it just starts to get a little ridiculous when you have to drill down so far to get to these sub categories. It just starts to get a little bit tedious. And when you throw around too many of these buzzword terms at bands, eventually the terms themselves they stop meaning anything, you know. And when too many bands start to get lumped in with these categories, again, the categories they lose all their meaning. So I just call this really what it is: experimental hip hop. You know, that's a term that can kind of encompass anything that is rap that just happens to be a little bit off the beaten path, and that's what I feel this is. Now, what kind of experimental hip hop is it? I mean, you have to listen to it for yourself and figure it out, you know? What I get from this album is a definite stray from the norm. You know, when I think of experimental rap, this is the type of album that really gets me excited. You know, I love when groups decide to step away from the status quo, and I think that these guys do that even in the realm of experimental rap. You know, they're taking things a little bit further than you would expect. I'll go ahead and say that I think the closest group to these guys would be Death Grips, but I think this is the album that would appeal to more traditional hip-hop fans. They would find this a little bit more listenable. You know, those that might be a little bit afraid of Death Grips because of maybe the more abrasive sounds and the screaming, yelling that MC Ride does. You know, what I hear with this album is like a perfect mixture of Death Grips and Dalek, but throw in, it's gonna sound weird, but throw in some really experimental post-rock sounds. Throw in some Sonic Youth. Throw in like Jesus Lizard. I don't know, like throw in some like weird alternative noisy rock sounds, and you're kind of on the path to what this is. You know, with the production, you're not getting just simple noisy loops. There are some real dense layers here. You know, the beats move and swell and groove throughout the album. You know, they move up and down, in and out. And the beauty of these beats is that they may not click right away. It may take a couple listens for you to really hear the intricacies within them. You know, this definitely gives me a coil feel in that when you first listen to the way the instrumentals are, off top, you're just gonna be like, okay, that's really atmospheric, and it might even come off simple to you, but if you listen deep and listen longer and listen further, you get a lot more out of it. The MC sounds perfect over these beats, and not to sound corny, but the name fits perfectly. He sounds incredibly moody listening to this. Like, this definitely sets a really somber, dark mood. But that leads me to my only gripe of this album. I wish they'd included the lyrics with the album. Even if it was just a digital download of a PDF with the lyrics, I wish they'd come with the album. The vocals are a bit drowned out on this album, which makes it sound really dope, and it fits the overall mood of the album, but I can't always make out what the MC's saying. And maybe a lot of people don't really care about things like that, but I do a lot. You know, if I really like an album, especially a hip hop album, I become obsessed with what they're talking about. Like, I want to make all of it out. I want to know the whole story of what the album is, what the lyrics are, you know? And this is a bit hard to do with this album. The lyrics I can make out were actually really dope. Baby, you will have to be alone while I'm burning with the masses and imploding on an androidless planet. The beauty of this album is it's not too harsh. It's not noisy for the sake of being like punishing. It's actually dark, noisy, but melodic at the same time. And that's what I was speaking about earlier with the intricacies of this album. You may not notice the melody, but after listening to it a couple times, all of these things start to come to the surface. And being melodic while being harsh and dark, that's a hard medium to accomplish sometimes, but I think it's done here very, very, very well. Some of my standout tracks have to be Hawk versus Vulture. You know, super dark, dismal sounds. I love the kind of gross snare sound. Totally brings me back to like old school industrial. That nasty sounds like you're hitting like a hard piece of paper, like that psh, psh, psh. Skies is one of my favorite tracks on here. That buzzed out, almost My Bloody Valentine style guitar, so good. The track Christ, his flow on this track is incredible, and the hook is really infectious. Oh my God, oh my God, oh my God, oh my. Possibly my favorite track on the whole album would be B, which is the last track of the album. It totally sounds like some Einstürzen and Neubauten beat with someone rapping over it. I think it's absolutely brilliant. It's a perfect closer for this album. It totally sounds like the end of someone's life, like the last few moments on Earth. And that crazy frenzied part in the middle, light me on fire in my fucking sleep, light me on fire in my fucking sleep, gives me goosebumps every time it happens. So good. I just love an album that I can actually feel, you know? And I don't mean like, I feel you, dog. No, I mean like an album you can feel in your stomach, in your chest, in your bones. This is that type of album. This album makes me feel like Meerschault in The Stranger, but worse. Like if he'd actually like gotten off and decided to just go on a total uncaring, unfeeling, killing rampage. Genuinely just not giving a shit who he hurt or what happens in general. Like that's how I feel with this album. It's the perfect existentialist sound for a hip hop album. You just feel so just ugh, but in the most awesome way possible. In closing, I found this album to be an incredible listen. It's just what I look for with music. Someone truly doing something different and actually feeling it. Atmosphere, emotion, despair, passion, like all of these things I feel with this album. You know, and most importantly, it's nice to see another act besides Death Grips, Blackie, and Clipping making some serious noise in this area of experimental rap music. I genuinely feel like this would appeal not only to fans of experimental hip-hop, but fans of experimental music in general. You know, if you're a fan of Coil, Throbbing Gristle, Cabaret Voltaire, I think you'll like this just as much as fans of any of the experimental rap groups that I mentioned. So go to their SoundCloud, give it a shot, and if you like it, make sure you throw some money at these guys. You know, I like the idea they have of what hip hop is and what it could be, and I like the path that they are trying to take it down. Shout out to Cheshi, thank you so much for recommending this. I will put the link to how you can order it in the section down there. And that's it. So if you've heard this album, be sure to throw a comment in the comment section letting me know what you thought of it. And as usual, thank you for living, thank you for loving, thank you for being you. And I'll see y'all next time. Peace, bitches.